दोस्तों नमस्ते। आज हम एक विशेष प्रोग्राम ज्ञान गंगा वर्ड्स ऑफ विजडम में ले आ रहे हैं। हमेशा की तरह डॉक्टर सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी यहाँ उपस्थित है और मेरे सहयोगी अरविंद चतुर्वेदी और रमेश स्वामी। आज हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं एक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण विषय के बारे में। हम आज बात करेंगे एडविगे अल्बाइना एंटोनी माइनो के बारे में, उर्फ सोनिया गांधी के बारे में। डॉक्टर स्वामी ने 2011 में एक किताब लिखी थी, सोनिया गांधी, हर लाइफ, हर लाइज, हर मैनिपुलेशन। इस किताब 2011 में डॉक्टर स्वामी ने प्राइवेट सर्कुलेशन में पब्लिश किया था और हमारे टीजी मोहनदास केरला से है, उन्होंने काफी सहयोग दिया था ये किताब की पब्लिकेशन के बारे में। और लगभग 9 साल पुरानी ये जो है, आज बड़ा शायद फैशनेबल हो गया कई लोगों के लिए कि वो लोग इस व्यक्ति के बारे में चर्चा कर रहे हैं। पर उस समय जब सब लोग डर रहे थे और यूपीए सत्ता में थी और उसके पहले भी डॉक्टर स्वामी ने सोनिया गांधी को निशाना बनाया था और काफी प्रूफ के साथ उन्होंने लोगों को अवगत कराया था कि क्या है सोनिया गांधी। Welcome to our viewers on our channel. As you know, today we are going to be discussing a very important chapter. It is regarding Advige Albina Anthony Maino, also known as Sonia Gandhi. Dr. Swamy had published this book, which is in 2011, in which T.G. Mohandas from Kerala had done a lot of work, and this book is based on facts and documents which Dr. Swamy had presented. When it was those days, it was very unfashionable, and now it has become fashionable for some people to raise this issue. Dr. Swamy has been in the forefront consistently. Even in 2004, we will discuss all that about this Sonia Gandhi, her life, her lies, her manipulations. So with this, I throw the episode open for discussion. I would first start with asking Dr. Swamy that, Dr. Swamy, when you first became a member of parliament around April 1974, and on that year's birthday of Srimati Indira Gandhi, who was Prime Minister, you gave her a very beautiful gift by which she had totally turned red in the Rajya Sabha when you had raised a very important question about somebody in her household. That time she was living at, I perhaps remember, 1 Safdarjung Road, which was also her, which is also her memorial just now. It was unfortunately on the 31st of October 1984, she was brutally killed in that place. So we would like to know, what was this gift you gave Srimati Indira Gandhi, the then Prime Minister, on her birthday on 19th November 1974. Dr. Swamy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's been a general defense to avoid expose by saying, these are personal matters. So, and most of the congressmen keep saying that. So I'm going to read out first a quote from Jawaharlal Nehru when he was in the central prison in the 1943 period. In what is this in Nanded, actually in Nainital, he wrote a letter to his daughter Indira Gandhi and said this: never do anything in secret or anything that you would wish to hide. For the desire to hide anything means that you are afraid, and fear is a bad thing and unworthy of you. Privacy, of course, we may have and should have, but that is a very different thing from secrecy. So I would say that I will not intervene into the personal life of Sonia Gandhi, her relations with Rajiv Gandhi, what they were, what they became. All that I had first-hand view of it, because Rajiv Gandhi, towards the end of his life, before he was brutally and cruelly assassinated by that terrorist organization, LTT, had confided in two or three of us about some of the problems he is having in dealing with the issues which are there. For instance, on Ram Temple and the Ramayana on television, he was under constant attack from both the leftists and Sonia too. And so we were all very encouraging for him. Shilanyas for VHP, opening the locks of Babri Masjid, which was actually a de facto temple. So I will not go into that. I am only concerned with what is secret today and is impinging on the national interests of India. So I begin by first saying that there is a big mystery in the people as to where she came from. She was the daughter, as you pointed out, of Stefano Maino, who was a soldier in Hitler's army. And Hitler had ordered his army to go to and conquer Russia. So somewhere near St. Petersburg, he was taken prisoner. And there's a small town called Vladimir, where he was kept for a number of years, maybe 4 years, 3 years, I don't know. Hitler was defeated in 1945. And in 2006, Sonia Gandhi made a special plea, and Putin, he was also from St. Petersburg, he personally took her and showed her the jail where her father was kept. So that's the background. Her mother was one of the youth movements of Mussolini. So they have a full fascist background. And this fascist background has been hidden from the public, and especially important because they are attacking all of us as Nazis and so on, and Holocaust and blah blah. And in fact, if there's anyone who has a claim to being a political descendant of Hitler, it is Sonia Gandhi. And her birth certificate does not mention the name Sonia. It's a name which her father, after coming back from Russia, gave the Russian name. It's a Russian name. In fact, all three daughters of his got Russian names. They had different names, but he gave them all Russian names. And her birthplace was given in parliamentary records as Orbasano, where their mother presently is residing. And that was her home for a long time. She was brought up there. But she was actually born in a place called Louisiana, which was actually a German rest and recuperation center. And I'm a bit puzzled by it, but I don't want to go any further into it because it's going to areas which is not essential. Then the question comes about her education. As far as I know, the only place education institution she went was a seminary for the Christian Catholics called Maria Austerlitz, something like that. And I don't know how many classes she was there and passed at what level. But she has no college degree. And unfortunately, in her affidavit, when she contested the elections, she claimed that she had got a degree from the University of Cambridge, which Cambridge University, upon my inquiry, gave me a letter denying it, which I have published it. So, I mean, this is a very important thing because in employment in government service, if you have faked your education qualification, you are dismissed and even subject to imprisonment. And I had gone to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, finally, the Chief Justice Justice Balakrishnan said, well, now be generous. You have proved your point, and henceforth she will not, in her affidavit, say so. So if you see her affidavit of 2006, when she fought the by-election again after resigning for Office of Profit Matter, it's different for education qualification from 2014. And even in the who's who of Parliament has changed. My first interaction with Sonia Gandhi, not face to face, but in terms of her activities, was when I entered Parliament in April of 19 1974. And it was my first term. And then in November, I had a question in Parliament about insurance agents and insurance companies. And it was before the finance minister. And Mrs. Gandhi was not present at that time. And I asked the question, and because the minister then who answered was Pranab Mukherjee. And I asked this question whether the insurance agents that you have are selected by any criteria, or you allow foreigners to. And the answer was no, foreigners are barred by the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act and many other acts, and it's only for Indians. Then I said, how is it that Sonia Gandhi is an insurance agent? And she's insuring all the people who are officers and employees of the Prime Minister's office. This is not only a conflict of interest, but it is illegal. Our whole parliament, burst into uproar. The Congress denounced me, blah, blah, everything went on. Then I said to Pranab Mukherjee across the aisle that if tomorrow Mrs. Gandhi doesn't come to parliament and say that I have made her resign from these insurance agencies, I will go to the Tughlaq Road police station because that's the closest to that covers the Racecourse Road Safdarjung Road area. I said I'll file an FIR against Sonia Gandhi for violating the law and ask her to be taken to custody. Next morning, red-faced Mrs. Gandhi walked in, and she gave me a glare that I'll never forget. And she said, for years, some people have been denouncing my family, interfering in our personal affairs, this, that, scream, scream. And then she said, however, I have ordered Sonia Gandhi to resign from all the insurance agencies. So that's how that matter began. Later on in the emergency, we found that she was declared as the technical director of Maruti car. Now, here's a person who has not even passed school. How can you be a technical director of a motor company? And she was getting a big fat salary also for that. So that was another thing that there was after the Janata Party came to power, we set up an inquiry under Justice Gupta, and a big report on Maruti has been prepared. But she was never prosecuted, but because very soon Congress came, and then Congress after that, the VP saying all these people, they were progressively found nobody having interest to prosecute her, and it sort of lapsed. So there, again, all these are proved facts that she broke the law and became insurance agent. She broke the law and became Maruti technical director. And then you see, even the false statement of her educational qualifications in the affidavit, that's also breaking the law. And by breaking the law, she could have been prosecuted. Some people have now been prosecuted. Their elections have been set aside. But at that time, the Chief Justice very well disposed towards the family. But of course, he was a very good judge. I mean, I had Ram Setu, I won the case when he was the Chief Justice. And therefore, but he tried to, sort of work for a compromise and say that I won't press the matter if she agrees to do a new affidavit. So that's how it happened. Now, there's one question which irritates congressmen very much. And that is, I asked this question. She went to England and in 1963, and she went to, and she didn't know any English, so all the Italian girls those days used to go for doing menial work in England. England was much more developed than Italy those days. And Italy had been completely disrupted by the war. So Sonia Gandhi, by then their parents were poor. One was a mistri in construction, and the other was a sharecropper cutting the crop. And so she went to England to get a job, and she had to learn English. So she went to what they call as an English shop, you see, which doesn't exist anymore, Lennox or something like that. And that doesn't exist anymore. Some Bell company has overtaken it now. I mean, bought it over. But she went there for about 6 months to learn English, and then she got a job as a waitress in a restaurant in the Cambridge University area called Variety Restaurants or something. Now, then after that, Rajiv Gandhi, she was meeting Rajiv Gandhi. She had other friends also, but I need not go into that. After meeting Rajiv Gandhi came to the conclusion that he could not, get a degree in Cambridge. He moved to the Imperial College of London for try and get a degree there. He didn't get a degree there also. And but Sonia also moved in around that area in the suburbs of London, closer to Oxford, and where Mother of India was studying. And then from 63 end to 68 February, when she got married, where was she working? This is a question I asked the congressman. What is wrong with that? I mean, we want to know, those who are in political life, that they don't hide anything. So if what is that so secret about that period? And in that I said, is it something like this? Is it something like that? Which, the congressmen get very excited about. But the fact is that the Congress people should ask Sonia Gandhi, where did you work to sustain yourself, because your parents couldn't have sent you money? Where did you work? And she not only did not, the parents did not send money, she was lending money to Rajiv Gandhi. And that's also part of the court record, by the way, in the Delhi High Court. And there was this Meenakshi Lekhi's, I think, father. He was a great lawyer, I mean, very tough lawyer, and a Pakka Hindutvavadi. And he had got all of these papers and he filed it, and he had given it to me also. So, therefore, it's a legitimate question. What were you doing in London? We like to know, because it's inexplicable that you had, beyond your known means of income, you were living in London. So we have a right, even in income tax laws, we have that kind of right, you see. So therefore, this is the other aspect, which then she got married in 1968. But till 1983, she remained Italian citizen. And her children were born in 1970 and 71, the two children. They also have been entered in the register in Italy. I've not been able to get an authenticated copy, but I had a student in Harvard who was an Italian, who told me that their names are there, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi's. And they are also, in effect, Italian citizens. Italy doesn't object because they believe in they have dual citizenship. We don't have dual citizenship. If you have any other country's citizenship, automatically your Indian citizenship is cancelled according to Article 9 of the Constitution. So therefore, this is a very important question, because when I got a photostat copy of her application to become a citizen of India under Section 5, there was one mandatory section which said, enclose with your application a certificate of renouncing your Italian citizenship. And she has put a cross on it and said, not applicable. Now, what do you mean by not applicable? Are you a stateless person or what? And so the officers then passed the thing that she can't be given citizenship. Then we have on record Mrs. Gandhi's instruction that this need not be pressed. It doesn't seem like a very important requirement. She is an Indian citizen, that should be declared. So that's how her Indian citizenship was declared. This matter was being raised by me in 2004, in January, February. And when her becoming the Prime Minister of India, for which she made huge preparations. I'll tell you what the preparations were. But I found that Mr. Advani made a statement, which I believe was done under the instruction of Mr. Vajpayee, that this particular lapse, which I had made public at that time, that she never submitted her her citizenship renunciation of Italy, and therefore her Indian citizenship is ipso facto null and void. He said we have regularized it, but that is not the end of it. It can be reopened any time if it's necessary. But at the this is something that is there. I'm not interested in pursuing this matter because I've proved my point. And now she then wanted to go, she wanted to be prime minister. So I wrote a letter that there is another proviso in the constitution, which was also edited, amended out by the Vajpayee government before they handed over the power in May 21st or whatever of 2014, and that was passed as part of the Apravasi Bharatiya bill. And that was this proviso, which has now been amended, but it is unconstitutional to amend it. So I can always bring it back if it becomes necessary by going to court. That says that any person, foreigner, becoming a citizen of India will be subject to those conditions upon becoming an Indian citizen, which are applicable to Indians becoming citizens of that country. So what are the restrictions put on Indians becoming Italians? When an Italian wants to become an Indian, we look at what the conditions are imposed on an Indian who becomes an Italian. And there, you see, you cannot be prime minister unless you are born in Italy. And therefore she can't be a prime minister in India because there's a reciprocity and you can't become. And this is the letter I wrote to Abdul Kalam. He called me for a meeting on the. He had been trying me, but I was in Madras that time, and then the letter went from Madras. It arrived on I think on 17th of May morning. He called me up. I was at the lunch. I was sitting down for lunch at my house, and he said, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Delhi." He says, "I've been trying to locate you." I said, "I was in Madras." He said, "Come right now." So I said, "How soon?" Because I've sat down for lunch. He said, "Forget your lunch. You come within 15 minutes. And my house was not far, so I raced there. And I walked in. I saw all kinds of officials sitting. The Attorney General, everybody was there. And he said, "You wrote this letter?" I said, "Yes." "Will you explain to these people?" I explained to them. One of them asked me, "Have you got any court judgments to say that this is not unconstitutional?" There was some Pakistani, and the Allahabad High Court had given a judgment that it is constitutional. So everybody satisfied. Then I asked the president, Abdul Kalam, whom I have known a long time. He actually he's a Tamilian who comes from a neighboring district, Ramanathapuram. And I knew him when I was Commerce Minister also, because he was scientific advisor at that time, the Defense Ministry. And he has attended many of my conferences that I have called as a minister. So I asked him straightforward, "But aren't you very late?" He said, "Why?" I said, "The TV is scrolling that you have invited her to stake a claim this evening at 5 o'clock. So what are we doing? An academic advice, exercise?" He said, "No, it is now only 12:30, and 5 o'clock is a long way off." I said, "But their press is waiting outside. What do I say?" So he said, "Tell them that the president is seized of the material that I've given, and he will give an opinion very soon." And very soon means at 3 o'clock he sent the letter to Sonia Gandhi's house. And I know two witnesses who were there, senior Congress officials, congressmen, being ministers, so they were both there. I think one of them I can name was Manmohan Singh, and the other one I will not name. And they both, Manmohan Singh never said anything to me later on, but the other man whose name I'm keeping confidential did not, did tell me what happened. That a letter went from Abdul Kalam to her saying, I had invited you to stake a claim today at 5 o'clock, but I have received a complaint from so and so, and I'm going to refer this to the Election Commission and under Article 91 or something, one of the articles, and also to the Supreme Court for an opinion whether the point I've taken is valid. Till then, I cannot give you, I cannot invite you to form the government, but if you're still keen on forming a government, then come tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So the 5 p.m. meeting stands cancelled. These are all on record. That letter, Manmohan Singh read in the meeting at 5 o'clock, but he only read the last line, that if you are anxious to meet me for forming the government, come at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But he didn't read the other part of the text. Obviously, he could not. And of course, there was big hangama on the parliamentary party and all that. And next morning, she went with Manmohan Singh and kept him sitting in the other room. And there was a big blow up between her and Abdul Kalam, who, according to eyewitness, a person who held a very senior position in Anna University, where Abdul Kalam used to very often go and stay there and also give lectures. So he was there. I won't name him also, but he's alive. So he heard the whole thing, and then Abdul Kalam, in fact, had a evidence which was provided by RAW that she still had an Italian passport. So therefore, he told her that the best thing for you to do is, find somebody competent who will listen to you, and I'll swear him in. And that's how Manmohan Singh was chosen. But his swearing in was fixed at on 21st May. Why? Because the support papers which are necessary to show you have majority was all sent in the name of Sonia Gandhi. And there about 340 names, they're all opposition parties, everybody who were in favor of Congress and against BJP. They all had sent individually letters. I so-and-so hereby propose the name of Sonia Gandhi for Prime Minister. And from Raebareli, Sonia Gandhi had also written, I hereby propose the name of Sonia Gandhi for the Prime Ministership of India, signed Sonia Gandhi. So therefore, all this talk that she never wanted it and all that, it was total bakwas. And it's one of these false propagandas to create an image. And these are records which are available. And I know one party which had sent a support to the president saying we support the formation of a government by the Congress party. And Sonia Gandhi phoned up one of the leading lights of that party and said, no, there will be misunderstanding. Some of my party colleagues are not to be trusted. So you give me a letter again saying putting my name in it. So there's no question whatsoever that she wanted to be Prime Minister and she was denied it. Now, why make such all this drama that your Mother Teresa or somebody like that, sacrifice, a noble sacrifice and all this? Propaganda has been going on for such a long time, it's all total rubbish. Now, I also found subsequently in the early 2001, that during the period when Sonia Gandhi was living with Indira Gandhi and then later on as the wife of Rajiv Gandhi, she was engaged in antique smuggling and on a very large thing, lot of time. I also found that, and it was published in Hindu newspaper by some correspondent called Vaiju something. She was a Maharashtrian lady. She was living in Paris, but she had gone specially to Italy. And a place called Rivolta, there was a shop there called HDK. And in Sonia Gandhi's hometown of Urbasano, there was a shop called Ganapati. Both were stocking ancient antiques from India. So it is smuggled from India, brought in there, and there they prepared all these, sale deeds and so on, and then auctioned it in London. This is a racket that was going on. I filed a case in Delhi High Court, and notice was issued to CBI. And that time there was a lawyer called who was representing Solicitor General, the additional Solicitor General called Raju Ramachandran, who's very much with them. But he was there, and he's of course an upright lawyer. I have a good opinion about him, although his ideological bearings have nothing to do with it. He got up and said, the court said, and there was a judge called Patel from Gujarat. He was the Chief Justice, and there was another judge. I think he was the grandson of our former president Fakhruddin. So they both of them said, we are asking the CBI to make an investigation of this. Along with this, there was another petition where I said that she, according to declassified documents by Yeltsin, after the Soviet Union collapsed and it became so many countries, 16 countries, and Yeltsin became the president of what is now known as Russia, or some federation or something, which is now popularly known as Russia. It's a much a truncated part of Soviet Union. And he had set up a commission on KGB activities during the period of the Soviet Union. And at that time, the Americans had huge influence in Russia, because the Russians wanted a lot of money. They were total wrecks. So the Americans were there, the American advisors were there. And what the Americans did is they quietly went into the KGB headquarters and photostated every document. I mean, the amount of work that must have gone, but the Americans are thorough in these matters. Every document was photostated, and then they put a copy of each in several libraries. So at Harvard, in a library called Lamont Library, they put a huge, almost one basement full of these records. And of course, all computerized, and you could bring it out all on a very efficient basis. And I had a spare time. I used to go every summer, as Jagdish knows very well and Arvind knows very well, and teach for 3 months and come back. So I had a lot of spare time, and my wife has already become a lawyer, so she was most of the time in India those 3 months. And so I used to go to the library and then start looking around. And one day I said, let me type Maino and see what comes out. And Stefano Maino going to jail, all these documents came, and records came to show that the KGB was paying Sonia Gandhi for years. And those records I pulled out and filed it in the Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court again sent a notice to the government, and that was the External Affairs Ministry, and Jaswant Singh was the External Affairs Ministry, and he then called the RAW and asked them to go to Russia and get it. The Russians then said, you have to come here with an official communication with the government of India, and we will give you all the records. Yes, these records exist. So Jaswant Singh then put this up to Mr. Vajpayee as usual. He declined. So we could never pursue that matter. But the letter that Jaswant Singh wrote to the Russians asking for these records, I have a copy of it because I was a very good friend of Jaswant Singh, and I'm very sorry that we didn't give him a ticket and then an accident happened. He's now, I think, in a comatose condition. And so here again we have a situation where records are there and newspapers published all this. the Times of India. The correspondent will publish it. When I see her today and say, hey, what happened to that investigation you did? She said, please don't bring it up. Don't bring it. I'll be in trouble. She does not have anything to do with it. I think she had a husband who was in UNI. He also put it out, which came in every newspaper. So that there was no doubt about it. So KGB and antique smuggling. Now, these are things on which the Congress got very angry with me, and all kinds of things were done. Jaitambaram tried to get me arrested on some hate speech thing, which of course fizzled out because there was no hate speech. I never make hate speech. I say the truth. If I say Muslims' ancestors are Hindus, I'm not. I'm not saying many hate. That means I'm including them. I'm not like the Nazi Germany who says that Jews are germs. They've got nothing to do with Germans. I'm saying no, you are one of us. How can I be? How can that be hate? But anyway, they tried all this Hindu terror, everything was tried, but nothing worked because I have by then become knowledgeable in law. And so here is another case. So the and then there were other incidents which irked them. In the emergency, after Janata Party was elected to power and Moraji took oath, between our results coming out and Moraji taking the oath, Sonia Gandhi picked up her two children, got hold of Rajiv Gandhi, and all of them went and hid in the Italian embassy. And one day, when Moraji had become Prime Minister, I walked in at an early hours because he usually used to call me at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning for a meeting. Almost every day I used to go. And I saw Sonia, Indira Gandhi coming out, and she was in tears. But of course, she didn't see me. I also sort of stayed away. And she went. And when I went in, I asked Moraji Desai, what's the matter? He says that she came here to complain that Sonia has taken away the two children and also Rajiv Gandhi to the Italian embassy. And so Moraji made me sit down. He called up the Italian embassy and he said something to the effect that, she's quite safe. I mean, what's the problem? I give you my personal guarantee. And the Italian ambassadors, Moraji didn't care any protocol or anything. He just picked up the phone and called up. And the Italian ambassador said, but she's an Italian citizen. So he said, so what? Rajiv Gandhi is also there, and he is a pilot in the Indian Airlines and therefore a government officer. And there will be severe prosecution of him and disciplinary action if you don't allow him to come out. So that's how they came out. I mean, these are episodes which everybody knows. I know that Priyanka Gandhi's wedding, which took place in the late 90s, who presided over that small reception that they had given. The Ataullah, lady called Farida Ataullah. Everybody knows who she is. She's ISI. Now, what was she doing as the chairman or chairperson of the wedding reception for Priyanka Gandhi? So there are all kinds of things which keep coming out. Now, over the years, I found that after Narasimha Rao came, he tried very hard to see if there's any way we could, he could accommodate Sonia Gandhi without her feeling bad. Because I think Sonia Gandhi expected him to die within 6 months of his taking office. By then, they would have got a majority, and she could have become Prime Minister. But Narasimha Rao's health started improving as after he became Prime Minister. It's something that does happen. I've seen a lot of Prime Ministers come in and sick and then they become very healthy. I think power is also a great aphrodisiac, I think. Anyway, that issue, I remember he asking me go and see her and tell her. So I went and saw her. And then over a period of time, twice or thrice, I saw her. She was, although she was not an MP, she was chairman of the parliamentary party, so he used to come to parliament, and I used to run across her. One day, Jayalalitha suddenly called me up and said, we have to bring down this Vajpayee government. He's a betrayer. He told me, made so many promises. Of course, he made one promise that he will make you finance minister. After getting all our signatures of support, he ditched all of us. So she was really mad. She wanted him to be brought down. And I kept telling her, no, what is the alternative and all. So she told me, no, you can work out an alternative. You did with Rajiv Gandhi, you found an alternative for VP Singh, you must do this. So finally I said, you will have to make up with Sonia Gandhi, and I don't think you like her. She said, I know I don't like her, but for politics, I'm willing to speak with her. So that's how I held that tea party, which everybody now makes a big thing. I was a Janata Party man. I'm not and Mr. Vajpayee was totally against me, and therefore there was nothing. Janata Party and BJP had nothing with each other at that time. So to say that I should not bring down the BJP government, as some people, especially Congress people, go on provoking our followers by raising this issue. And I did what Indira Gandhi wanted, and I held the Tea Party so that Indira Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi and Jayalalitha can come together. And we came together, brought down the government. But then once the government was brought, she made a deal with Vajpayee on Kotrochi and ditched all of us. And that's how Vajpayee was able to come back. And then by then Vajpayee had also brought in DMK as his ally. And you know the rest of the story. So I would say this much, that I have all the documentation. I have not spoken anything which will be a breach of privilege of something personal to her. I have plenty, but I will never come out with it. And two, I will certainly come out with secrets which have national interest implications. I certainly have a right to know what is our background, what is our connection with Italy, I mean with the Italian fascists and German Nazis. Why we would like to know so many other things which have impinge on our politics. She also, I tell you one more incident. In October 1990, October 10th to be exact, Rajiv Gandhi called me and said, are you going to America anytime soon? I said, yeah, I'm planning to leave in another 2 days for about 5-6 days. So he says, can you do me a favor? I said, what? Can you stop by Tunis? I said, why Tunis? It's such a small country. What is there? He says, Arafat is there. And Arafat was hiding there after that Shatila massacre in Lebanon. He was hiding there. So he says, I want you to meet Arafat. I said, me meeting Arafat? I am a friend of Israel. He probably knows it too. And if I turn up there, will I be able to come out? He said, no, I have made all the arrangements. So please go. I said, what for? He said, you come and meet me. I'll tell you what for. What he told me was that for years, Sonia Gandhi had been financing the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, and that particularly the George Habash group, which is a Christian group, and sending them money. And whether the money was, now that he is no more prime minister, still reaching the Palestinians. So that's, I asked that question to Arafat. Arafat, of course, was great friend, became great friends. He sat with me. He insisted I have lunch before going. Anyway, I came on a private plane from London. So therefore, I had time. So I had lunch with him. We discussed so many things. When I became commerce minister later, he phoned me up was the first one to phone me up to congratulate me. And we remained in good contact throughout till this end. So he told me one thing, yes, money is coming, but why she can't send it to me? Why she must send it directly to George Habash? Now that was a question later on I wanted to know, but it turned out that George Habash, People's Liberation for Palestine, something, PLFP or something, was a Christian organization. So that's why she was sending it there. Now, this is a very serious matter, that these are terrorists and you are financing them. But how many things can we go to court for, and where will be the documentation also? So that is why I've left it at that. But I would challenge them. You deny it, I will then make that as an excuse to summon documents through the court. But anyway, the issue is this. I have nothing personal against Sonia Gandhi because I hardly know her. She did one day in a dinner when Rajiv Gandhi, myself, and Rakshana and Vishwabandhu Gupta of the Congress party, in his house there was a dinner. And when Rajiv Gandhi introduced me to her and said, you know, my friend Swamy, she said, your friend Swamy? I know, he's the coward who ran away from India during the emergency. So Rajiv got very embarrassed. So I said, don't worry, I'll reply to it. I said to Sonia that I am like the Italian army, always running away from the battlefield. So you should have sympathy for me. So she got so angry, she left the dinner and went away. So there's been no real this thing except that brief period when the question of bringing down the Vajpayee government was there. So what I'm saying today is that, in my opinion, she's unfit to lead this country. And I'm glad I stopped her. She can never become Prime Minister of India because she has this restriction. And her connections are all over the world. In 1995, she went to China. I know all about that visit because I had gone to China subsequently. The Chinese regard me as friends. So since whatever I learned there as a friend, I can't make it public. But the issue is, if it ever becomes a national security issue, I'll make that public too. So what I am concerned is about national security. And I have nothing personal against any of them. Although they have tried to harm me in no end. The whole Harvard episode where behind my back, they cooked up some silly charge of hate speech and all what was the hate speech that I said Muslims should acknowledge that their ancestors are Hindus. In what way is that a hate? I'm welcoming them to my family. So, but they did it, they financed it, and the president of Harvard was promised 100 acres in India to start a campus, and a Harvard overseas campus. But thankfully, the BJP came to power, and Smriti Irani became Human Resources Development Minister, and she cancelled the whole thing by saying correctly that there is something called EDX, and you can study at Harvard through the computer and through your laptop. You don't need a campus here, and campus means cultural change and things like that. So there are so many things which I have not made an issue of. But National Herald is an outrageous corruption of unimaginable proportions. I mean, it involves criminal misappropriation of property. It involves cheating. It involves criminal misappropriation of resources. Oh, so many charges are there, and one of them is actually life imprisonment. One of the charges. So that's a serious matter. It's going slow because in India, in courts, many things go, especially when there are 7 accused and there are 7 senior lawyers. I mean, there are thousands of ways it can be delayed. But I have got them during their period when they were in office. The magistrate to issue a summons, and there's a prima facie case has been proved. Now we have to frame charges and hold a trial and convict them and send them to jail.
डॉक्टर स्वामी,
या अरविंद प्लीज गो अहेड।
आपने हमारे दर्शकों के लिए आज के इस प्रकरण में इतना धमाकेदार जानकारी दी है। मैं पहले थोड़ा संक्षेप में बता दूं हमारे हिंदी भाषी लोगों के लिए जो आपने बताया। आपने सोनिया गांधी के जो बीमा एजेंसी थी अवैध रूप से जो उन्होंने हासिल की थी, वहां से आपने शुरू किया और उन्होंने अपनी जो शैक्षिक योग्यता है उसको छुपाया, अपने चुनाव के गलत एफिडेविट दिया जिसको आपने चैलेंज किया। उन्होंने अपने नाम के बारे में, अपने जन्म स्थान के बारे में छुपाया। आपने उनके जो राष्ट्रपति चुनाव के संबंध में, प्रधानमंत्री पद के चुनाव के संबंध में जो बताया, 2004 में जो उनको दुनिया त्याग की मूर्ति के नाम से जानती है, उस त्याग की मूर्ति का भी आपने आज भंडाफोड़ कर दिया कि किस प्रकार राष्ट्रपति कलाम ने आपको जो आपकी जो लीगल पॉइंट्स थे उसके सहारे उनको प्रधानमंत्री बनने से रोका। आपने उनके जो स्मगलिंग अवैध रूप से उन्होंने की भारतीय पुरातत्व की, उसके बारे में आपने बताया। आपने संबंध, उनके जो संबंध केजीबी से थे उनकी तरफ उनको आपने इशारा किया। तो जो सबको आपने बताया, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूँ एक बहुत बड़ी बात थी जो छूट गई है, नेशनल हेराल्ड तो आपने बता दिया। जो बोफोर्स में राजीव गांधी के ऊपर चार्ज लगे, उसमें सोनिया गांधी की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका थी, और उनके रिश्तेदार कह लीजिए, पारिवारिक मित्र कह लीजिए, जो क्वात्रोची महोदय थे, जिनको बाद में किस तरह छोड़ा गया या किस तरह जाने दिया गया, वो भी एक विषय है जानकारी का। तो सोनिया गांधी की भूमिका बोफोर्स के मामले में क्या रही और किस प्रकार ये पूरा मामला आगे बढ़ा, इसके बारे में।
जी, समय है तो मैं 5 मिनट के अंदर बोल दूंगा। जगदीश इस बार है तो अगले बार कुछ
हमने कहा कि समय हम आज पूरा कर लेंगे इस विषय पे।
डॉक्टर स्वामी, आप बोफर्स के बारे में जरूर हमारे दर्शकों को बताएं।
ओके, देखिए, आप दोनों मेरे साथ थे, आप जानते हैं कि मैं विधि मंत्री भी था, वाणिज्य मंत्री भी था, विधि मंत्री भी था। तो विधि मंत्री के कारण चंद्रशेखर सारे फाइल्स मुझे दे देते थे कि तुम राजीव गांधी का दोस्त हो, तुम बताओ क्या करें। तो मैंने जब उसको देखा तो 2-3 बातें पता लगी जिस पब्लिक को आज पता नहीं है और आज भी फाइल में होगी। ये जो सौदा हुआ था, उस सौदा में उस समय डिफेंस मिनिस्टर थे कौन? वीपी सिंह। वो स्टॉकहोम में जाकर वहां से दूर जो हेडक्वार्टर्स है बोफोर्स, वहां जाकर बैठकर उसने अप्रूवल दिया, वहां दस्तखत भी किया, और वही बन गए साधु संत बोफोर्स के विरुद्ध में। तो पहला ये था। दूसरा था कि राजीव गांधी की पत्नी सोनिया गांधी और उनकी बहन की जो पति थे मैं कह रहा हूं क्योंकि वो डिवोर्स करके चले गए, वॉल्टर विंची, और एक और बहन जिसका वो स्पेनिश का आदमी था। इन दोनों को पैसा मिली। वो थे जब राजीव गांधी वहां दस्तखत करने के लिए गए थे, उस समय जो डिफेंस सेक्रेटरी था मिस्टर भार्गवा, वो मेरा विद्यार्थी था हार्वर्ड में। और जब ये सारा हुआ और सब खत्म होने के बाद मैं गया तो वो तो एक भूत जैसा लग रहा था, जो जैसे कोई दृश्य देखा, इससे जो लोग यानी सारे बाल सब उतर जाते हैं, सब पागल हो जाते हैं, वैसा था। तो मैंने पूछा ये क्यों किया? तो तब उसने कहा कि हमें यही था कि राजीव गांधी हिम्मत नहीं हुई अपनी बीवी को काबू में रखने के लिए, और वो सीधा हमसे डांटती थी, और वॉल्टर विंची और इसको देने के लिए। और चिदम्बरम का मामा एक थे, उसका अभी एक केस में अभी फंसा है,
एसी मुतैया।
हाँ, मुतैया, एसी मुतैया। उसको मैंने स्पीक घोटाला में जेल भी भेजा था। उसने एक एई सर्विसेज बनाई, और उस एई सर्विसेज के जरिए पटर्ची को पैसा मिला। तो राजीव गांधी को तो पैसा मिला नहीं, बट वो कोई कहने की बात नहीं है, उसके बिना तो हो ही नहीं सकता था, उतना तो वो दोषी है ही। परंतु जहां तक पैसा है, वो ये दोनों साला, इनको क्या कहते हैं, साला ही कहते हैं ना बहन की पति को, ये दोनों को उन्होंने पैसा दिया, और उन दोनों ने पैसा लेने के बाद डिवोर्स करके चले गए। अब ये दोनों बहन जो हैं वो पति के बिना है।
आपने सोनिया गांधी को डॉक्टर स्वामी कहीं रॉबर्ट क्लाइव भी कहा है कि वो रॉबर्ट क्लाइव की तरह।
हाँ, रॉबर्ट क्लाइव ने क्या किया, यहाँ से लूट करके जाकर वहाँ इंग्लैंड में खुश आराम से रहा ना। ये तो कब इंग्लैंड तो जाती नहीं है, परंतु कितना लूट किया। मैं तो, मुझे लगता है कि क्लाइव से भी ज्यादा लूट किया। वो तो है ही। ये तो हमारी कमजोरी है, हमारी कमजोरी है कि वो कर सकती थी। हमारी कई 1-2 प्रधानमंत्री तो उनके पांव ढकढका करते थे जब सोनिया का नाम आती थी। कौन सोनिया गांधी के ऊपर केस डालने के लिए किसी को हिम्मत थी?
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. I would now request Ramesh for his next question.
Yeah, Dr. Swamy, you just mentioned that nobody had the guts to file a case against Sonia, but there was a case in the U.S. in New York that for the defamation case. So
Yes.
I mean, it was a debacle that she never
Oh, it was
realized
a
what
real
was.
debacle, yeah.
A little bit about that.
What happened is this, that I had two associates, one Kataria and another Arish Sahani. Kataria is dead, but Arish Sahani is in full swing there. And Sonia Gandhi was coming in the UPA period to United Nations to speak about Mahatma Gandhi. A lot of people in America are confused that they are relatives or something like that. Anyway, so she was coming. So I don't know what came over our people there in these NRIs. They took a full-page advertisement of all that today you find that in that book, and put it in short form, and the whole page of New York Times was there. Now the New York Times had subjected to legal, which all newspapers do in America, subjected to a legal check, and they came to the conclusion that you can't file a defamation case in America. Anyway, a public person files a defamation case, then what happens is that the onus shifts to the public person to prove that what was said was false, and that the person saying the false thing knew it was false, and still he made that statement. So it's very difficult. But anyway, they thought these two people are bolas. They are ordinary workers. One was an insurance agent, making a living, and the other was doing some basic secretarial work, and both very nice golden men. And but they thought that who can protect them. So they got the most famous high-paid lawyer in America, who had appeared for Ariel Sharon of Israel, and won the case for him against Time magazine. And they got him to file a 500 crore rupees, or maybe it was more. I think it's $100 million. So a suit for damages. And there was such a scare in the NRIs that what will happen, your property will be attached. All kinds of rumors were being spread by the Congress party, overseas Congress party. So they contacted me, so I caught a flight and went to New York. And I had a friend in Harvard who was a Jewish professor, and asked him that if you know any good lawyer who would work free for my colleagues in a defamation case. And he laughed. He said, "Do you think anybody will work for free in America?" So I said, "All right, give me a recommendation of somebody. Let me see if I can persuade him." So there's a very well-known law firm in Park Avenue, the most fashionable avenue, as you, Ramesh, know very well, or those who have been to New York know very well. And that was called Constein and so on. It's a law firm. So I got an appointment with Mr. Constein, and I went there and sat with him, and he immediately recognized me. He said, "You have been supporting Israel from a very long time." I said, "Yeah, I'm the same guy." He said, "Well, you have a lot of guts," and so on, and his heart opened out for me. And he said, "What have you come for?" I said, "A defamation case." He said, "Oh, you are being defamed or you're defaming?" I said, No. Two of my very poor colleagues, I mean, people who are just workers here, they have been, $100 million suit has been filed. He said, "Really?" I said, "But we can't afford your fees." So he laughed. He said, "Is there anything you can give?" I said, "Whatever typing paper and the typist charges, those we'll give." And that came to about $65,000, for which I held an Indian overseas meeting and collected it from the crowds. So 65,000 rupees. My friends in Harvard was joking that even you can't take some lawyer from Park Avenue to lunch if you pay him $65,000 is nothing for him. It's peanuts. How did he agree? I said, well, you're a good man. So he agreed. And they prepared a beautiful case. And I, of course, knew the law very well, American law also. So I also, debated with them, and they were mighty impressed. Anyway, I was teaching at Harvard. That was another big plus. And so when the suit was to be replied, they prepared a reply, and the first hearing took place. And it was Indian National Congress Overseas versus, Arish Sahani and Kataria, etc. And so the lady judge, the first question she asked is, who's defamed here? So the Congress people said, Sonia Gandhi, our most respected leader. Now she said, leave all that. Who is Miss Sonia Gandhi? Tell me. So he said that she is the president of the Congress party in India now. Then why is she not here? So the Congress guys made the mistake of saying she's a very busy lady, she's a top national leader and all that, she can't come. So this lady judge said, oh my God, I am nobody. I'm just an ordinary judge of the High Court in New York, and I don't count for anything. But some Sonia Gandhi is the queen of the world, and I have to forgive her absence from my court. Dismissed. And that's how the whole thing got out. So we saved a lot of litigation on that basis.
The irony, Dr. Swamy, right now is yesterday's apparently Sonia has sent out a letter of advising the PM about the economy, and as I just fell off my chair. This lady who can't even, not even past probably 5th grade.
Have you seen my reply?
Yeah, I saw your reply, but I'm just shocked. What is this?
She doesn't even know ABC or economics, and the person who ghost-written that letter also doesn't know ABC or economics. That's all right. It's what's called the conversation between the deaf.
Jagdishji, please proceed. Thank you.
Yeah, with this, we come to an end of another very interesting episode, which you just heard. Our program got extended for past 1 hour because our viewers very keen, and we were getting messages, don't stop this program, please carry on. And we have had a record viewership. We will have the records for tomorrow. But Dr. Swamy, I must thank you. This was a very interesting session. And my colleagues, we did not have to much ask you any question. You gave us a full load of information for our viewers. And so this is what is Advige, Albina, Antonia, Maino for the people of India. You have been bravely since the last more than a decade without security, without fear or favor, being opposing her. Many people make some noises or pretend to be opposed to her, but really speaking, nothing great has happened. And so it is really very daring and dashing of you to expose such anti-nationals in our country. So with this, we end today's program. I wish to remind viewers.
Before you end up, शेर याद आ रहा है, मैं डॉक्टर स्वामी के लिए बता दूं, वो ये है कि कुछ लोग तो खामोश हैं हंगामा मचाकर, मैं चीखता रहूंगा इनकलाब के लिए.
वाह वाह, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अरविंद जी. So with this we end today's program, but I wish to tell our viewers that again tomorrow, Sunday, the 26th of April, we have another interesting episode which will be featuring Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Dr. Swamy and General Bakshi, who has written extensively on Subhash Chandra Bose. Will discuss the issue tomorrow at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So I request our viewers, please keep in tune. We are coming up with interesting programs and editions. And let me tell our viewers that we are available daily live on YouTube, Virat Hindustan Sangam channel. Then we are available on Facebook live, We are available on Twitter, Periscope at the handle of Dr. Subramanian Swamy @Swamy39. And we are available on Instagram, that is Dr. Swamy39. So we are available on these 4 social media channels, and many of our friends and associates are also relaying this on their own social media channels. So with this, we'll end this today's program, which is extended for more than an hour, and reminding our viewers to watch us again tomorrow on another interesting episode with General Bakshi and Dr. Swamy on Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, 8 p.m. Indian time, on our show Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga with Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Thank you, Dhanyavad, or Jai Hind.